Okay, I can see myself now.
Yeah.
Ji.
Oh yes, we are live. A very warm welcome to Manju
Ji.
Ramanan,
Yes.
the best person I've known so far. I've been following you on Facebook. A warm welcome from Dubai.
Thank you. Thank you very
How
much.
are you? How are you, Manju? And
I'm
kindly introduce yourself because
yes.
as a whole finale of you gave me your CV and I was going through it and I got really confused. I didn't even know what to do. Like,
Okay.
what should I ask and how should I begin and what exactly? She is the editor-in-chief, Filmfare Middle
Middle
East.
East. Yeah, the Middle East. I look after the Middle East edition of Filmfare, which has been in Dubai, which has been largely stationed in Dubai for the past 10 years. 2 years ago, the Danube Group, which is a very big group in Dubai, took over the magazine, and I work with them. For the last 2018 was when the magazine was relaunched. So that is how the magazine came back. For 1 year it did not it was not there, and then it came back in 2018. So Mr. Rizwan Sajjan, who is the head of Danube, who's the chairman and who is the chairman of Danube Group, and the founder of Danube Group, is the one who started the magazine with me. Both of us started this magazine, brought this back together to life, and that is how Filmfare is back in the Middle East. He's a very passionate Bollywood person, which is why he wanted to invest in the business, and that's how Filmfare came back. So I've been the editor of the magazine. We have two editions every month. We have the English edition in the Filmfare Middle East, and we have the Arabic edition, which is because the Arabs love Bollywood. So this is
Oh, absolutely,
them.
absolutely. So what made Mr. Rizwan decide that? What made it exit Middle East, and why did it come back? Like,
Well,
what was the reason behind it?
well, there's a story behind it. I used to be with another company
Mm-hmm.
which used to be owning this magazine, but the owners decided to leave the country and go. So the magazine went back to India. So
Okay.
it had, because it's a franchisee, it had to be bought back.
Mm-hmm.
The sponsor had to be a local sponsor. So Mr. Rizwan Sajjan, who is the chairman and founder of the Danube Group, wanted to get the magazine back. And because I had the contacts and he had the resources and the big passion towards Bollywood, is where everything came back together. In 2018, Deepika Padukone came to launch my cover. So we had a huge ceremony and the event. About 30 stars came. We also had people from Pakistan who came.
Mm-hmm.
Stars from Pakistan. Fawad was here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of stars came, and we did a huge event at Bollywood Parks in 2018 where Deepika launched the cover of the magazine. So that's how from then on we
So
have.
thereon, it is your baby now. It's more of your baby. I see that. And when we were discussing a little while ago, you said that you are a cross content specialist. Now that is a
I
term
call
which
it
is
Yes,
which,
we call it cross content only because today we are not limited to print. I started out as being a print journalist, and I've been a print journalist for the past 20 years. But
Mhm.
cross content, why? Because I also write plays. I have also been part of content creation for the digital space. So it is as editor, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm only looking at print. So it's a cross section of things that I do. So that's cross content is the easiest term to use. It's a generic term. So it probably it's
Mhm.
content creation basically. So across all platforms, it's
Mhm.
created. So I do a lot of Insta lives. You might have seen the Filmfare Middle East Insta lives that I do.
Yes, I've been following.
Facebook is also full. All that I do on Insta Live, you can see it reflected on Facebook as well. So that is the content that you see across all platforms.
So
That's
have
how
you
it
ever
goes.
thought of coming to this part of the world and spreading your light, which the way you are shining out there,
Well,
the Western
why
world?
not? The sky's the limit when it comes to content. And with Bollywood, I think everybody loves Bollywood. The Indian
Mhm.
diaspora, the Asian diaspora loves Bollywood. There is so much there, and it is not just Bollywood; it's Indian cinema. So if you look at Malayalam cinema or Tamil cinema, or Bengali cinema, Marathi cinema, we have so much in India. So if there is a diaspora of Indians who are fond of this kind of cinema, the sky's the limit for wherever the magazine can go.
So have you guys ever thought of creating the edition and distributing it across the world when it comes to other than English in Filmfare?
Yeah, we have the Arabic
Or
edition.
is it limited only to the Arabic translation?
Yeah, right now we have the Arabic edition also, and for 2 months we are taking a break with print because of some regulations to do with the spread of corona and paper. So we coming up with a PDF version of the magazine which can be sent across to people for a certain fee, because we create the magazine, so it can always be sent across. If you're interested, let me know. We will surely have a word with my office, and then we can see how it can be distributed or sent to your database across, so that people can access what we do here as well. That's possible.
I do see that you have been associated with Femina too.
Yes,
Would
I
you
was.
like to share the story?
Yes, of course. Femina, I used to be with Femina in India. I used to look after the Ahmedabad, the Gujarat edition of Femina long ago. I worked with them for 2 years, though I was with the Times of India all my life. Even now, after coming out of India, also I've been with the Times Group in a way, because Filmfare belongs to the Times Group. Femina used to belong to the Times Group. So Femina, yes, very very. It's a space that I think all women identify with. It's about not just women of substance. It is believe. It's all the women we are. These are taglines that were given to Femina at different stages of their lives, of Femina's lives. So yes, Femina has been an integral part of my growth, my professional growth, and the fact that I had fabulous people that I worked with. My bosses in Femina when I was there were fabulous. They always gave us a dream of how a woman can manage home and work with equal tenacity. There is no compromise either ways. So I had fabulous bosses like Amy Fernandez. I had Primrose D'Souza. There's so many people. I had Madhavi Purohit. There's so many seniors that I look up to. I have Jitesh Pillai, who's a very dear friend, who's the editor of Filmfare India. These are people who have been in the business and been in the thick of business in Bombay. I represent Filmfare. I'm talking about content-wise in the Middle East. My team, not just me. I'm not the only person. There are so many people in my team who put the magazine together. So yeah, Femina is something that is very dear to my heart. Though we do not have Femina right now in the Middle East, would love to have someday see a Femina Middle East edition. Again, I used to handle Femina for the Middle East. It was here for 2 years, and then because the company closed, it went back to India.
I remember when we were discussing when I was in Middle East, I used to read Femina a lot. For me, it was like more like a Google for me in those days. Get your answers, question answers column, and the women's section.
It's a cult magazine, isn't it? How we've all grown up
section.
With everything in it.
Everything.
The fact that it gave very aspirational. You wanted to be like one of those women. There are these stories that you read, and you were so inspired. Okay, if she could do it, so could I. There were so many references, and it celebrated women, the lives of women. So, and interestingly, a lot of Femina readership was male. Because because everybody
yes, and they used to actually understand a woman's heart through Femina. That is what you know. But I was going again through whatever content that you had shared with me. Before all this, you were more of a journalist. How different is journalism from what you are doing right now? How different?
What I'm doing right now is journalism. It's entertainment journalism.
What is the difference for sure?
No, I can't say it's different. We are adapting to the changing medium. So right now, a lot of it is digital. So when I started out, the typewriters had just gone away, and we had just started getting computers. I'm talking about 20 years ago. I started my career 20 years ago when the typewriters were no longer around and the computers had taken their spaces. There were photographers who used to develop, proper. You had photographers who would develop the print and come back to us, and you to scan these pictures and they would go to print. That moved to the digital space. So there has been a transition from then on to now. And now is a transition from whatever we are doing right now in print, as in paper, to digital. So this is just a transformation, and just this cross content is largely because we are addressing so many platforms. It is not just print. It's digital, it is engagement. There's so much more. It is not just
The
one.
horizons have broadened, actually. It's not only limited to certain.
Nothing at all. Today I'm talking to you. You're talking to me from one part of the world.
Across the continent.
You know me. Yeah. And you've read about whatever we know is through what you've seen, what I put out on Facebook or on my Instagram. So it's a great connect to have that. Today the audiences are not limited to just one place. If you look at Netflix today or Amazon, everybody across the world is accessing it. So you have the world as a platform. You're not limited to yourself as saying that, okay, my readership is, today we'll have to map readership. It'll not be easy to know, okay, who am I writing for? Maybe I'm writing for somebody in Canada, probably.
Right.
So that also will change the way writing will engage, because now I'm not saying that I'm only writing for Indians or I'm not writing for, a certain nationality. This will change. I'm sure it will change. And that's a fabulous thing, because the world is changing that way. The pandemic has brought all of us closer together. These are some advantages that we have.
I think on that note, I would definitely share this with you, that pandemic has globally connected people and made it as one. For me, this virus has taught us a lot. It never saw caste, color, creed, nationality. Everybody one. Why can't we? Why can't we? We have to, because I feel that those missiles and weapons, they should be listening right now.
Yeah, true. And probably that's also the reason why people have become more compassionate. I hope they become more compassionate, because you understand that we all are facing the same enemy. So,
exactly. And the invisible.
And that invisible. So we bond together saying that, okay, listen, I hope you're safe. The first thing people ask on WhatsApp is, keep home, keep safe. Are you indoors? Hope you're safe. Now, this wasn't the case earlier. People wouldn't say safe. They'll say, hi, how are you? Okay, see you. Or maybe they'll say, have a safe flight. But this word safe has become now
the new normal.
It's a very caring word, no?
It's a new normal.
It's got care in it. Yeah. So it's a nice thing.
In a way, you're actually, yeah, right.
The lexicon has changed. Words have changed because of a situation. So it's nice if it adds to compassion, if it adds to a little care for each other. Good. I think it's a good. Somewhere we are changing our own habits. We are challenging our own without knowing, without doing it consciously. It's just seeping into conversations, because we probably
you are actually imbibing the whole thing naturally, because I was looking at Facebook the other day. They have got those little icons, it says like it, love it, anger. So there's a thing called care with a little heart.
So yes, it started. So see how it has become, without you knowing it, it just permeates into your life, because that's the need of the hour. And we speak to each other as if we know each other. We met each other probably for the first time today. But I don't see that. So because there is a common issue and we are all battling it, so somewhere it brings people together. That's also there. Again, in it, there is a lot of compassion, kindness. I mean, all the interviews that I've done till now, all people that I've met, and I'm talking about digital interviews that I've done, everybody signs off saying that keep safe, keep indoors. People you've met for the first time. So isn't it a beautiful thing that a little more kindness and gratitude into the world has come? And in what way? But it still is.
A very simple thing. The other day I was at the grocery store, and you don't know the people, right? Usually people jump on you and they pick up the stuff from the shelf. But when they saw that one is already picking up the pizza from the shelf, the other one was waiting. There was a lineup in the sections as well.
So there's more grace. There's more ठहराव. I don't if there's a word like that.
ठहराव आप सही कह रहे हो, because there is a little bit of, they are a little grounded now. They have no airs, because they know this invisible enemy can get anybody at any time.
Yeah.
वो कहते हैं नजर आपकी हटी.
And मुझे लगता है एक और चीज है कि वो इसीलिए है क्योंकि suddenly stress चला गया लाइफ से. वो इसीलिए भी था because you were rushing.
और गुस्सा
rush is softened down. तो जब rush ही नहीं है तो अपना body natural rhythm में आने लगता है ना. तुमको जरूरत नहीं है भागने की. जब you don't have to reach there.
It's like you have all the time in the world.
Yeah, you do. You have a certain pace which you have set for yourself, and that's a beautiful thing, because finally it's about your rhythm. Exactly. And if the rhythm is sorted in this way, I mean, wow. There's so much that we do not know. This is supposed to be the year of transformation, and I think we are transforming slowly in various ways, getting more conscious of our bodies, our health, of our loved ones, our elderly, our children, people that we probably did take care, but we did not consciously think of their needs, or they could be vulnerable. And the fact that because a lot of people are indoors, I think the emotional needs, there are many issues to it. People have addressed things like domestic violence. People have addressed child abuse. There are so many things that people have addressed. But putting it all together, it also gives you the time to go within and sort out issues. You might sometimes what happens.
A lot of introspection is happening within.
Yes.
You have
Sometimes because
started
you had
analyzing.
an issue at home, you would probably go out with your friends and fix it and come
Yeah,
back
just
with
figure it out,
the same
yeah.
issue. Today you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it and then sort it and then move on.
No running away from issues. I have experienced this, but even telephonic issues. कई बार होता है ना, आप चिल के फोन बंद कर दिए. I don't have time. Those kind of things. Now you are on the phone, on the chat, trying to solve the issues and not running away from them, because you know that there's no way.
Yeah, absolutely.
इससे बैठ के solve करो, चाहे वो family का issue हो या बाहर का हो. That is a very good thing that you have said, that yes, pandemic has taught us a lot. And
also children across the world are studying from home. This has happened for the first time ever.
Right.
Anyway, this entire generation of kids are generally hooked to their gadgets. Largely. I'm talking about largely. Talking about, again, I can't say largely because there are homes where people do not have amenities. I cannot be insensitive to that. What I'm saying is, well, I'm talking about some homes where children have, can access and are part of this entire gadgets through which they're accessing their school, homework and all of that. They are happy indoors. I mean, I know my son hasn't left home for the past 2 months. He's just been on classes from morning to evening, and then he has coaching classes which go on next. And then his recreation is also the same thing. So it's because you cannot step out.
You cannot step out. And somewhere you are also feeling happy. You know what? As a mother,
yes. But I go out. I and my husband, both of us, Dubai doesn't have a lockdown. So we have lockdown from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
So the morning hours, I go to work. I go to work with my
mask and everything.
Class. And we maintain social distancing. There's only 30%.
What exactly is the situation happening in Dubai? Like, is it like a regular lifestyle or?
No, it is not. Nothing is regular. People are a little careful, but offices which require you to go, people are going and they're maintaining codes. So when you enter the office, there is, you'll be screened for your fever or something. And then even within office, you'll have cleaning. The cleaners will come and, keep wiping the doors, the handles and knobs regularly. And there will be, we maintain social distancing. So everyone's with the mask and gloves. Of course, I can't type with a glove, but we keep that. And if I have a big room, then I'll have only 4 people in that room. They'll be in 4 different corners. So the distance is there. And yeah, that's how we're functioning right now. My team is small, so I still have space. And my room, I'm the only person in my room. So I'm alone in my room. So, and I have my colleagues in the next room. So it's quite manageable, yes, but we have to be careful. As soon as I come back home, I change my clothes, I have a wash, and then interact with my family. So, well, that's the way to do it, is what I think. I have friends across who have to go to the healthcare workers, for that matter, and so many people in the healthcare industry have to go. So that this is also what they do. So as journalists, we are also, in a certain way, we do not. There's no way we can match up to what they are doing. But in the spaces that we try to do, what I try to do, what my team tries to do, is okay. Everyone is online, so let's give people a little entertainment.
Right.
To create that content for their entertainment is what we aim to do. So every day about 2 to 3 new stories will always come up on our websites and our Insta Live, so that people are people who are logged
People
in,
are
and
in
some
touch and they are constantly in the loop, right? You guys are
constantly.
still trying to keep them in the loop. What is happening?
Also keep them entertained, because everything
Or
is
it's boring
gloomy.
otherwise. It's boring
Yeah, and
otherwise.
gloom. There's no gloom. The whole idea is to make sure that you, even if it's for that 15 minutes or 20 minutes,
It
you
looks
look
normal.
at something nice.
Yeah, it looks normal. It looks normal, right?
I'm trying to, and people have to be engaged, because it's also a time when depression is hitting. A lot of people are single. They're single in the sense they are away from their family. Some of them are just like, I have a colleague who is in Dubai. His family is in India, and I mean, there are many issues like that. So, and then because the flights haven't, today we've started flights. Some flights have started to going to India.
Yeah, that's
So there
insurance.
are, yeah, so there are certain things there, and yeah, we have to address, and the fact that kindness is so important today, to understand what the opposite person is going through, and adjust your tone or your body language. Be more sensitive in communicating with people, because everyone's going through a certain kind of
I
anxieties.
agree there with you, Manju, because initially when you talk to people and if somebody is angry, you try to
Yeah,
judge the person. There's a lack of communication. You pick up a fight and then you go back. But
yeah,
now your situation is exactly similar to mine. We are on the
exactly.
same platform. It has brought
Yeah,
us together on the same grid,
yeah,
which is actually I'm thankful to pandemic. And they say that every movie in your language has
yeah,
got an interval. So this is an interval. This is
yeah,
an interval,
yeah,
and sit back, relax, do your
yeah,
work, and
yeah.
get back to the rest of the movie. I'm sure rest of the
And
movie is
and
fantastic.
another thing is, a lot of people who complain of boredom. Today, boredom is a luxury.
It's a luxury now. Trust
Boredom
me.
is a luxury, so people have to deal with it. There is, yeah, unless you have a certain psychological need, or you have a certain condition that you need, you cannot be, in that situation, or a clinical reason. I think there are boredom shouldn't never be a complaint in this condition, because this is a time to do a lot of stuff. A lot of people are getting more creative. They're going back to their latent arts and things that they had just
From the
cast
scratch,
away.
making cake from the scratch. No more
Yes.
bakeries.
Yeah.
From the scratch, and I was
Baking, so many
exactly
things.
something like from the scratch.
Singing.
Exactly.
I read something somewhere which I also posted. Said that, what would you do? I mean, for those people who thought artists were useless, try spending these months without any form of art.
Exactly.
You cannot do without that.
Exactly.
People are writing, painting, singing, composing,
They're doing all
cooking.
their hobbies, bringing out the real themselves. What was
That's art, right? So
coming out?
today,
We had actually
art,
buried them in our day-to-day life somewhere.
yeah.
I write a lot. I've started writing.
Okay,
And in
okay.
fact, I depict my anger in writing also. And then I
Mm-hmm.
delete it. Because
Ah,
that's a good way. That's a
it's a
good
good therapy.
to look into
It's a
yourself, the
good
do's and
therapy. It
don'ts.
flushes your mind.
Because it's usually it used to be initially in that heat of the moment when we let out our anger and hurt the other
Then
person. Right?
yeah, you come back
So
to normal.
we write it.
Writing is very therapeutic. Yeah, yeah,
It,
sure.
it is, it is. But it was actually, I've seen that you have been doing Times of India. Oh my God, when I'm going through your profile, it is so much that I don't even know where to pick up and where to drop myself. And how was your experience with Times of India?
Oh, lovely. I've been with them forever. I mean, all my 20 years of my career, I think 17 years has been with the Times of India in different capacities. I used to be in a small town, Baroda, where I used to look after Baroda Times, which was a supplement of the city.
Mhm.
Then I moved to Femina in Gujarat, which I used to look after the Gujarat Ahmedabad edition for Femina, contributing to the main edition of Femina as well. Then I moved to Dubai and I worked 3 years in a company which was not the Times of India. We used to do coffee table books and a lot of stuff, very interesting things that I did with a
On
company
that
called
note,
Swaraj.
I'll cut you short there. Coffee tables. What
Yeah.
what exactly is this term? Coffee with
Coffee
current.
table,
Coffee table is
coffee
what?
table. Yeah, coffee table books are big books that you keep on your coffee tables, and they're very culture specific. They're very artistic. The layout is very, very artistic, and they're usually heavy books that you cannot literally hold.
Yeah,
And
you can just stand there and flip over the
yeah,
pages.
yeah. So yeah, so a lot of culture, history, tradition. I'm very fond of all that, as you can see. I'm very
Yeah,
fond of
yeah.
everything which is
Seem to be very
culturally rich and
yes.
enriching. And
Mm.
today I'm not in a sari, otherwise that's what you usually see me
I
in.
have seen
I'm
you that way, and that is why I told you wear anything you look pretty because that's how Indianized you are. Probably you carry
yes,
it
I
in
am.
your heart, like I told
It's
you.
just a. I mean, I've been wearing it for the past 20 years now, so it's become like second skin.
Yeah,
Um,
that just
and
it.
I believe it's the most beautiful garment. There is nothing that matches a
I
sari in
think
elegance.
something which doesn't come in sizes. I was reading it the other
The
day. The
most
only thing
forgiving.
that
It's the
doesn't come,
most forgiving garment.
most
Yeah.
forgiving. Yeah, that's a term. That's a term.
And
Anyone
then you
can
can
wear it.
wear it the whole day. And if you choose the right one, you can wear it the whole day and match different occasions. It goes well with your workspace. You go to a party, just add on a little accessories and make it more. It's the easiest thing. I think if you get used to a sari, I don't know why people should wear anything else, because it's easy. It's a more convenient. For me, it's comfort more than anything else. For me, every outfit that I wear has to be comfortable. If it's comfortable, then it's good. And for me, the sari is comfortable, which is why I'm sure everybody looks beautiful in whatever they wear. But for me, my comfort is the sari. So yeah, that's why.
It was pleasure talking to you. And Manju, it
Thank
doesn't look
you.
like that. Actually, we are talking for the first time. We
First
have
time.
communicated
Yeah,
a lot,
true.
and um, but genuinely, all the very best to you in your
Thank you.
future ventures, for sure.
Yes.
And Manju and I will like to take this opportunity of thanking all the frontline workers out there across the world who are
Yes.
taking care of us in every way. And
Right.
salute to all those people who lost their lives
Yeah.
in armed forces during this sad period, pandemic.
Yeah.
Our salutations to them. Would you like to say something and take the opportunity of saying something for our frontline workers who are out there in
Yeah,
the
all of them. In fact, a very close friend of mine works with the New York hospital, and I posted something about her recently. And she had posted something interestingly saying that I'm one of those lucky ones who's been chosen by God to be of service to others. So, and she was in a mask, and she's a nurse, and she works with COVID-19 patients all the time. And she says she has a family, so she comes back home and she has to clean her car and she has to clean herself, and then there are many things she has to do to enter the house and then do the same thing the next day. And on the school WhatsApp group, she's my very close classmate from school, Anu Abraham, Anu Varghese now, and she is based in New York, and she is one of the. I'm very proud of having studied with her. So that's how I'll say that what they do, what everyone of
nobody
the
can do.
healthcare workers and associated staff, the cleaners, the drivers, the people who bring in the supplies, the food, the people who create that food, and everything around it. It's big. They are not, no less than soldiers in the who keep us safe. So this is the new army of soldiers, and I think we should be completely indebted to them. There is no way that we can ever not look at them without admiration and pride. And that is something that I would like to say, that it's a big. I mean, we should be. There's a great amount of respect that we have for them, and it'll only increase because we see how hard they work and how selflessly they are ready to do everything. I mean, there are so many pictures of. I've seen photos of. I mean, Indian doctor in India, of course. I'm sure it's across the world.
Of
uh,
course.
as an example, I'll say it's India. There've been pictures I've seen of doctors who've come back home and they're not meeting their children, but they're eating outside their homes because in cars. I mean, it's it's
The
it's heart wrenching.
police
Yes.
officers. I saw
So
this video on Instagram. I think it was posted by Faraji or something. Was there on Instagram where this doctor, he doesn't go home. He stays in his little car.
and yeah, he has a car. He's got
And
a
in the car, he's
bed
got a bed
there,
in
and
there, and he stays there because he cannot afford to go home. And God forbid, if he gets the infection, he doesn't want his
yes,
kids to get that, and his parents.
yes, and there is and the fact that all these healthcare workers, the caregivers, are they screened? Are they safe? Who looks after them? That I think is something that we all need to also think about, because the caregivers are the ones who also need care, and they are working relentlessly to make sure that the pandemic doesn't spread. what are we doing for the caregivers is something that I think we all need to ask ourselves. And if there's any way in which we can relieve suffering to a little extent, I think as people who are not directly, fighting the pandemic like they are, it's our responsibility to do that little bit. So that could be in any which way. I could do it through my profession. You could do it through your profession. There are ways and means, and everything is not about money and donation.
Exactly.
There's a lot more there. You could a phone call. There could
Words,
be so
a
many
few
ways.
words, and yes, a few words and of kindness, and can a lot of people go through mental depression also during these
Yes.
times. And,
And
yes,
the good thing I've seen here is people are calling each other and generally talking on, I hope you're fine. I hope everything is okay. Where do you get these
exactly.
gloves?
People whom you haven't talked to in ages, spoken with,
Yeah.
you
So
are.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
And Manju, thank you. A big namaste from here in Toronto to you.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining Design Television, and we wish you all the very best for your future ventures.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're doing a fabulous job, and I'm sure you'll reach out to more people, and more power to you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.